In part 5 on our series on psychological gesture, we'll talk about the first of the 3 I's, inspiration. Hi, the Inspired Actor here. If you're new to this channel, we are dedicated to helping actors become better artists by offering these quick, roughly 10-minute acting lessons. We have about 100 of these that we've made over the last year and a half, so feel free to check them out on our channel. And if you want to see more videos like these in the future, go ahead and subscribe so you'll be notified as soon as they come out. And take a moment before you forget and hit that like button, as it really helps me out. And if you know people who might like these videos, please don't hesitate to share them on your social media outlet of choice. Any kind of movement can be material for a PG, as long as it is strong, clear, simple, and engages our will, desire, and feelings. Michael Chekhov. Once again, this is part 5 on our series on psychological gesture, the crown jewel of the Michael Chekhov technique. If you are new to my videos or this series, I'll put a link to the complete playlist in the notes for you to catch up. But here's a brief catch up for you just in case. In part 1, we discussed that a PG is the spine of the character or scene in a condensed physical form. With practice, we can quickly and easily hone in on a useful psychological gesture, saving ourselves loads of time in our process and freeing us up to use that gesture to get at the truthful details of our scene and character in a deeper and more dynamic way. In part 2, we discussed adding quality, tempo, and rhythm to your gesture to affect the feelings you obtain from the action as well as its intensity. In part 3, we covered adding drive and resisting force to your gesture to affect its strength, as well as adding the artistic frame to increase its utility. In part 4, we went over the anatomy of a good psychological gesture, one that incorporates full use of your body and breath, extremes of motion, maximum physical and psychological effort, and the artistic frame. So now that we all know what a psychological gesture is used for and what it is made of, let's talk about the first of 3 other approaches to creating a PG from scratch that you might find useful. Now, let's imagine that you have read the script a few times and are beginning to get an image of who your character is and what they're about. Next, I invite you to find a safe space where you can explore your character's PG physically. This can be a room in your house or apartment, a studio, the rehearsal space, or wherever. Just find a place where you can move about without hurting yourself and the things around you, and that is semi-private so that you can not feel self-conscious or anything. First, just close your eyes and try to reflect on your character's inner life. Maybe a particular line from the play or movie that they say or is said about them that pops out at you. Maybe they do something physically that you find interesting. Maybe there's some physical attribute that makes them unique, or just something you find interesting. Maybe something comes to you that you can't really explain why or how, but it's just something that pops out at you when thinking about your character. Using your full focus and concentration, open yourself up to the physical and psychological life of your character. Now, open your eyes and, starting small, maybe with just your hand or your foot or your head, allow the images that are forming in your mind's eye to move the part of your body that they are drawn to. Do not overthink this. There is no right or wrong way to begin. There is no right or wrong way to move. With a feeling of ease, allow your body to begin to activate. Slowly, slowly, slowly allow the movement to radiate up your full arm or leg, activating the full limb or head or chest. Notice the directionality of the movement. Allow more and more parts of your physical self to be absorbed into the movement. Gradually and deliberately build up to a gesture that incorporates full body and breath. If it begins to get too complicated, find places to simplify the gesture. You should be able to execute the gesture from beginning to end on one complete breath. Now, begin to visualize yourself doing the complete gesture, noticing any changes in your movement that are happening in your visualization, and then try to mirror the envisioned gesture physically. Allow yourself to radiate the gesture and notice when the gesture ends. Ask yourself if you are using your full physical and psychological effort to produce the gesture. Is the end of your gesture in full polarity to the beginning? If not, Why? Make adjustments to achieve compositional form. Note the beginning of the gesture. Note the end. Note each small transformation from A to Z. Let yourself make discoveries along the way. What does your gesture say about your character? What did you learn about your character through this exercise that you didn't know before? Continue to execute the gesture and make discoveries. If you have a piece of dialogue memorized, allow yourself to execute the gesture and then say it on the radiation. Execute the gesture again, and this time walk around your space, allowing the energy of the gesture to fill your body and activate your will force as you move about and interact with the objects around you. If you feel the energy of the gesture beginning to wane, stop where you are and execute the gesture again, letting the energy reactivate your entire body mind. Through your actor's division of consciousness, ask yourself what discoveries you are making as you do them. Does it feel in alignment with your character, or does it feel unsatisfactory? If it doesn't feel right to you, then return to the gesture and make adjustments accordingly. Perhaps begin with a different part of the body. Perhaps find a shift in directionality. Make any adjustment you need until you feel satisfied with the psychological gesture you have created. When you feel you have created something that you can be satisfied with, stop, unwrap the gesture physically, and send it up into the air above you. Congratulations! You have created a psychological gesture using the first of the 3 I's, inspiration. Inspiration is a great first step towards creating a gesture because it requires very little from you other than opening yourself up to possibilities. All you really need to do is read your script enough times to get a good sense of your character, then you can let your higher consciousness do the rest. I tend to think that our higher consciousness, what scientists call the neocortex, knows way more answers than we give it credit for, in particular with regards to artistic creation. Great writers, painters, and artists of all kinds already know this. That is why they are able to transcend what they think they are capable of and tap into something which helps them to create amazing works of art. To be clear, I don't think this requires some kind of transcendental meditation or anything like that. It simply requires a strong feeling of ease, a calming of the mind, as it were, and an openness and receptivity to the images, feelings, and impulses that fall into your imagination. This way of finding your psychological gesture merely asks you to be an impartial witness to the images you are creating. You simply watch the images and let them guide you one way or another. Sometimes they can lead you astray, however. By this I mean that after doing the gesture a few times, you realize that it's not quite right for your character. That's when you can restart, take a firmer grasp of your imagery, and guide it gently towards a more satisfying outcome. At the end of the process, you should have a PG that fulfills all the requirements of action, quality, and strength, as well as using your full body, breath, the artistic frame, maximum psychological and physical effort, and extremes of movement. Some people are highly receptive to this technique, and others find it very difficult. And you should know that if this method of creation is difficult for you, then that is perfectly fine. In this case, it doesn't matter how you get there, just that you get there. And there are other methods at our disposal for creating a psychological gesture that I will get to next time. How does this method work for you? Did you make a lot of cool discoveries, or was it a total flop? Let me know in the comments. Take it from me, someone who has worked for years with this technique and in improv. You have a lot to teach yourself if you listen. Next time, we'll be exploring the second of the 3 I's, imagination. So, if you want to be the first to be notified when that video comes out, be inspired to subscribe and give that bell the archetypal gesture of push. See you later, colleagues.